This clip is brought to you by SaveWithConrad.com.
Tennessee Tommy wants to know, was the old school forehead like a badge of honor with the boys? I guess we should acknowledge what we're talking about here. A lot of guys would have scar tissue built up over their forehead after many years of some bloody wars in the ring. And I'm sure to an outsider that looks fucking weird, but inside the circle, the brotherhood of wrestling, is it like a badge of honor, or was it once upon a time?
Not really. You actually, number one, you wanted to be safe.
Yep.
You wanted to be non-see-through. You didn't want anybody to see that you were
the magic.
Yeah, working the magic. That was the biggest thing. You didn't want to expose anything. But you got showed by guys that really cared about you that you didn't go in the middle of your head.
Yeah.
You go to over on the side, and you go the same place every time. And the one rule that I figured out pretty much on my own was they could, as your boss, as the booker, whoever, they could tell you, I want you to work the magic every single night of the week. But they could never tell you how deep to go. That was up to you, and that's how you protected yourself. You know, I've seen some guys with some really terrible foreheads, and you know, I look at mine. My whole head is a scar. Period. If you really think about it, but I didn't have those deep ridges that a lot of guys did. That really overdid it and didn't clean it afterwards and keep it clean and help yourself heal up afterwards. So, you know, it wasn't who had the most ridges, who got the most respect, if that's the question.
Well, yeah, I mean, I guess we should acknowledge, you know, some of those ridges, I'll never forget there was like a shoot interview tape floating around, and they would do tricks with Abdul the Butcher where he could like just stick a quarter in his. And I didn't think that was cool. I think that's fucking weird. But then you would see, I think over the years, Rick would like clean it out and then put Neosporin on it. Is that the trick afterwards? Is that the rule of thumb?
Absolutely. And hey, you know, remember something, you know, you also want to be able to go to a nice restaurant with your wife and kids and sit down without everybody, you know, walking by the table looking at you like you were the mummy or something, you know. You want to be a human being in your off time. And I tried to keep the scarring and all that stuff to a minimum. It was, we're still going to do what you had to do when you had to do it, but just, there was no reason to overdo it. And always keep it clean, just like you would any other injury. If you busted something open, you know, out on the steps, or you fell off the roof into the bushes and sliced your leg open, whatever it may be, you want to go clean it and make sure, you know, the scar isn't horrendous. Nobody wants to walk around all scarred up.
We'll do a couple more and then we'll wrap this week up. Rad Eagle wants to know, was there ever a time when you got in the ring and it became a shoot?
Not really. No, there was, you know, and I've said this before, there would be some guys occasionally that would come to TV and they would get booked, and maybe, you know, the guy that broke them in the business and got them booked on TV, like Atlanta, we called it Atlanta TV in the old days, Georgia Championship Wrestling. If, you know, there were guys that maybe had 5 matches or 4 matches or, you know, no experience. They had just went through some guy training them maybe for a couple of weeks, and maybe they hadn't had a first match, and they come out there and in most cases, I think they weren't trying to take advantage of the fact that now they're on TV, you know, forget about their job that they've got, you know, stacking lumber, which is their real life back at home. Now they're down here and they're going to get to wrestle on TV, and they get amped up, and, you know, they get impossible to move around. Maybe they try to leg dive you, or they just completely blank out once they step inside the ring and realize, hey, I'm on national, if not worldwide television, you know. I never felt that it was a guy that was in there trying to take advantage at my expense is that word I'm looking for. But when those guys, the only thing, that you could really do to calm them down is whack them pretty good. And I'm not saying hurt anybody. That's the last thing I've ever wanted to do. I never went to the ring to hurt anybody. And, it's just like getting a potato. You get potatoes from some of the most accomplished workers in the business. You let it go. But if that guy gives you another one in that same match and it's the same recklessness, you give him one back because you got to let them know you're being reckless with my body. And that's what you would do with these guys. You would take them down and whack them a little bit and, just say, hey, relax, I don't want to take this any further. And that was not a conversation that happened. It was almost telepathic. And usually those guys would just relax and let you move them around and do what you had to do. But it was more being green and just not knowing than a guy, because that's just not good business. You don't slide in and turn something into a shoot. That TV time is meant to be a business transaction. You don't own that time. That time doesn't belong to you to go out and whatever your agenda is that day, get it fulfilled. You're there to be on that show and do what you're paid to do. So I never ran into any shoots in the ring, to be honest with you.
Hey, it's Conrad Thompson. Thanks for checking out the podcast here on YouTube. Be sure to hit the subscribe button and the notifications bell so you get a notice anytime we upload some new content. And go save yourself some money right now. If you're in a 30-year loan or you have credit card debt, it's not a matter of if I can save you money. It's a matter of how much. Find out right now for free at SaveWithConrad.com.